In the mid-19th century, a group of archaeologists, driven by curiosity and perhaps a bit of madness, descended upon the ancient city of Nineveh. Under the thousands years old sand, they found a vast library of clay tablets, all inscribed with cuneiform script. Among these tablets was one of particular interest. An epic poem etched into the clay over 4,000 years ago. This was the Epic of Gilgamesh, humanity's oldest surviving story. The story begins in the city of Uru, one of the greatest cities of ancient Mesopotamia. Its king was Gilgamesh, a man who was 2/3 god and 1/3 human. Gilgamesh was blessed with unmatched strength and wisdom, but he was also cursed with arrogance. He ruled with an iron fist, and his people suffered under his tyranny. One of the most notorious aspects of his reign was his abuse of power over the women of Uru. Before any bride could be with her husband, Gilgamesh claimed the right to sleep with her first. This heinous act fueled resentment among his people, and they cried out to the gods for help. The gods heard the cries of the people, and they decided that Gilgamesh needed a rival, someone who could match his strength and bring balance to his unchecked power. So the goddess Aruru, the creator of mankind, molded a new being from the clay of the earth, Enkidu. Enkidu was a wild man, covered in hair, living among the animals in the wilderness. He knew nothing of human civilization, and for a time he roamed free, a force of nature untouched by the corruption of the city. The animals were his companions, and he protected them from hunters, much of the frustration of the people of Uru. Enkidu's wild existence came to an end when a hunter, frustrated by his inability to catch any game because of Enkidu's interference, seek help from the city. The solution? A woman named Shamhat, a temple prostitute, was sent to civilize Enkidu. Shamhat seduced Enkidu, and after 7 days and nights with her, he was transformed. He could no longer live among the animals, who now shunned him, but he gained the wisdom and understanding of humans. He was no longer wild, but part of civilization. After his transformation, Enkidu learned of Gilgamesh's tyrannical actions, and he set out to challenge the king. When they finally met, they fought fiercely, shaking the very foundations of Uru. However, Enkidu was ultimately defeated by Gilgamesh. Despite their rivalry, the two men developed a deep respect for each other, and in that moment of mutual understanding, they became friends, brothers even. Their bond was deep, and together they embarked on great adventures. They journeyed to the cedar forest to defeat the monstrous Humbaba, the guardian of the forest. With the help of the sun god Shamash, they defeated Humbaba, though not without incurring the wrath of the gods. Upon their return to Uru, Gilgamesh caught the eye of the goddess Ishtar. She offered herself to him, but he rejected her advances, listing the fates of her previous lovers, all of whom had met unfortunate ends. Enraged by the rejection, Ishtar pursued her father, Anu, to unleash the bull of heaven upon Uru. The bull brought destruction, but Gilgamesh and Enkidu, fighting side by side, managed to slay the beast. In a moment of hubris, they even mocked Ishtar, which would prove to be their undoing. The gods were furious at the arrogance of Gilgamesh and Enkidu, and they decreed that one of them must die. Enkidu, who had once been a force of nature, was struck down by illness. As he lay dying, he cursed the hunter who had brought him to civilization, and the Harlot who had seduced him. But as death approached, Enkidu's anger turned to acceptance. He blessed Shamhat for giving him the knowledge of civilization, and he reconciled with his fate. His death shattered Gilgamesh, who had never faced such loss. Enkidu's passing forced Gilgamesh to confront the harsh reality of mortality, something he had never considered. Devastated by Enkidu's death, Gilgamesh set out on a quest to find the secret of eternal life. His journey took him to the ends of the earth, where he sought out Utnapishtim, the only man who had been granted immortality by the gods. Utnapishtim recounted to Gilgamesh the tale of the Great Flood, a catastrophic event eerily similar to the biblical tale of Noah's Ark, ordained by the gods to cleanse the world of humanity. The god Enlil, frustrated with the noise and chaos of mankind, decreed the flood to wipe out all life. However, Ea, also known as Enki, the god of wisdom and protector of humans, secretly warned Utnapishtim, instructing him to build a massive boat to save his family and all species of animals. For 7 days and nights, the floodwaters engulfed the earth, drowning everything in their path. When the storm finally ceased, Utnapishtim's boat came to rest on Mount Nemosh. After releasing birds to find dry land, he and his family emerged as the sole survivors. As a reward for his obedience and faithfulness, the gods granted Utnapishtim and his wife immortality, elevating them to live among the divine. When Gilgamesh sought the secret of eternal life, Utnapishtim revealed that immortality was a gift reserved for the gods' chosen few. Instead, he asked Gilgamesh to accept his mortality and focus on leaving behind a legacy that would stand the test of time. Utnapishtim, however, took pity on Gilgamesh and told him of a plant at the bottom of the sea that could restore youth. Gilgamesh, with renewed hope, dove to the depth and retrieved the plant. But his victory was short-lived. On his journey back to Uruk, while he rested, a serpent stole the plant, leaving him with nothing. Defeated, Gilgamesh returned to Uruk, but he was not the same king who had left. The quest had changed him. He realized that true immortality was not in living forever, but in the legacy one leaves behind. He saw his city, its walls, and its people with new eyes. The wisdom he gained from his journey became his greatest treasure. The Epic of Gilgamesh ends with Gilgamesh reflecting on the city he built and the story he created. His legacy, immortalized in the epic, is one of the oldest stories ever told. Yet, its themes of friendship, loss, and the search for meaning are timeless. This ancient epic was tucked away in the sands of Nineveh for thousands of years, forgotten by the world until its rediscovery. Yet, in those ancient lines of text, we find reflections of our own human experience. Was it fate or destiny that this story would be preserved? Was it a masterful plan by a genius mind or simply the consequence of life? As Gilgamesh himself discovered, perhaps it's not the answer that matters, but the journey itself.